Welcome back to BT Vancouver. It is 7:17 on this Monday morning. Another outbreak has been declared at a meat processing plant in Canada. The Cargill plant south of Montreal is closing after at least 64 workers tested positive for COVID-19. The outbreak has impacted 13% of its workforce. A spokesperson for the company says the plant will close temporarily so all of its workers can be tested. This comes after the Cargill plant in High River, Alberta, was linked to over 1,500 cases and 1 death. The plant reopened last week after a 2-week shutdown. The union representing the workers has a labor board hearing scheduled this week. A look at the COVID-19 cases across Canada now. Quebec now above 37,700, including over 2,900 deaths. Ontario over 20,200. Alberta more than 6,200. BC with 2,330. The remains of a second victim in last month's Canadian military helicopter crash off the coast of Greece has been identified. Captain Brendan Ian MacDonald. The Department of National Defence saying Ontario's coroner's office used DNA to identify the partial remains of the pilot. Captain MacDonald was originally from New Glasgow, Nova Scotia. The crash claims 6 lives, with only one other identified, 23-year-old Abigail Cobra. The search for the other victims continues. While a majority of COVID-19 deaths in Canada have been linked to long-term care homes, a nursing professor hopes this will prompt government officials to fix the flaws in the system. Cheryl Tasascu has this story.
A lot of seeking for whose fault was this, how did this happen, but it's just like an onion. You have to keep peeling away, and the reasons are different.
More than 80% of the COVID-19 deaths in Canada have been linked to long-term care facilities. This exposed deficiencies in some nursing and retirement homes, according to one University of Alberta professor.
It isn't a surprise to some of us that have studied it for a very long time that it cracked under the pressure.
Carol Estabrooks, who's collected data on long-term care for 15 years, says there needs to be a fundamental redesign, but it's a complex task. She says one thing some facilities have in common is being staffed by low-wage, part-time workers.
They're not regulated, the frontline workforce, the care aides and PSWs. So they have different educational requirements from province to province, and how the wages, they vary a lot across the country from as low as $13 an hour to $24.
Estabrook says the pandemic put a light not only on the medical but also the social needs of seniors.
So if there's going to be a silver lining out of this tragedy, and it is a national tragedy, we hope that it's going to be a refocus on how we take care of seniors in Canada.
Ottawa recently announced a $4 billion plan to boost pay for frontline workers, including those in long-term care homes. Both the feds and the provinces are working to put measures in place to protect the safety of those living and working in these facilities. From Edmonton, Cheryl Tasascu, City News.
Scotiabank, in partnership